Hello and welcome to this very snowy garden tour. I don't know how much of a garden we're going to be seeing or how long of a tour this is going to be, but welcome to our cottage garden in the wintertime. It is February. It's in the 20s right now and there's a little bit of snow kind of spitting down on us. So hopefully we'll be able to do this whole tour. But I wanted to start here. This is our hillside. And in the springtime, this is really gorgeous and very kind of loose and free. There's all kinds of really beautiful meadowy sort of planting on the hillside, which I really, really love. But it's got a very free kind of prairie feel to it. And I really love the planting up there in the spring. There's irises, lots of tulips, and what's it called, that one? The balloon flowers, campion. Wild Campion, I think it's called. And last year we really tried our best to improve some of the winter interest on the hill, adding some lovely evergreens. And this is the reason why, is that from our cottage we can look out and see some green throughout the winter. When living in a deciduous woodland, there's just so much brown and so many sticks all over, which you'll see throughout this tour. But we have a gorgeous blue-green pine up there. We have a Norway spruce and a fat Albert spruce as well, which is the blue one there. I absolutely adore that. And there's a yellow twig dogwood right behind that, which I think we're going to actually move up because it's sort of getting lost with the fence. And I think we want to really highlight that next to the blue spruce. That combination is gorgeous and the color pairing is perfect. And then next to that we have a dwarf Alberta spruce. So hopefully these won't cast too much shade in the time that we're here. And then we have a few different arborvitaes that are sort of a blue-green color, and they're these little balls that are really sweet, kind of freckled throughout, as well as a few other different cedars and some junipers up there. We also have some pines that are just native pines. There are some white pines in this area, and so we have a few of those little saplings coming up, which I think look really, really sweet. And then I planted a few, that's a rhododendron and an azalea, and I can't remember the varieties, so if you're interested, I can try to look those up. We have our boxwood pillars here in the center of this border. So these are the new borders, and we built these this past year. They were just driveway, a very rough driveway. And now the center of this, like the pathway going through this cottage border, is just the old driveway. We didn't fix this. So our plan is to do a really nice, either stone or brick pathway going up to the front door of the cottage this spring. So we'll hopefully take you along for that journey of creating that. But yeah, a lot of the things in the cottage garden look fantastic this time of year, and I like to leave a lot of them up just for the wildlife. There's not that much going on, and so it's nice to just leave up seed heads and things like that. I also think that it looks beautiful, and it's nice to have something out there to look at. So the sedum right now are really beautiful. Just with a little dusting of snow, they can look so stunning. And then these boxwood pillars that we got, I think this is such a nice structure. I definitely want to add some more of these in. And our little bistro set with our lantern is really sweet. A dear friend of ours got us a real lantern, like a beautiful lantern. I'm really excited to get that out and have that for this coming season. But a lot of what we're looking at right now is just sort of the remnants of the garden. And this is such a beautiful time to kind of plan and dream and see what more we want to add for winter interest, and also try to come up with ideas for what we want for this coming year. And it's going to start to pretty soon here get into cleanup time and things like that. But right now, February has actually been much colder than January, which isn't typical. So we're sort of on pause for a lot of those, and I'm like itching to start getting out in the garden. I've already spent a couple of days out here. But yeah, that's kind of the hilly meadow and the front borders. Let me take you through the rest of our cottage garden here. This probably won't be a terribly long tour, as I said, just because, yeah, it's in the 20s and it's getting a little windy. But the dogwoods are looking really, really beautiful. It's kind of funny because the ones that are closer to the house are much bigger than the ones over here, because the deer feel a little bit more emboldened on this side to just come in and graze. And they do love the dogwoods. I think the boxwoods throughout are really, really nice. We're going to have to do some moving because these fairy roses, which I absolutely adore, they are enormous. I mean, like 5 5-6 feet, 5 feet at least wide. So we're gonna have to move this boxwood and just do some rejigging in this area. But I love that part of gardening. I really have kind of a puzzle brain, and I love that aspect of it. So for our window boxes here, I wanted to show you. So throughout the season, we had these planted up with some, pretty nice things, and it gave us a better idea of what we want to do this coming year. But we put some evergreens in them, and we got these from a friend's property and gathered them for around our property as well, using the red twig dogwoods in there, and it just looks so cheerful. It's so nice to look out of the window year round and to see some life, some greenery. I also really love the choice of switching the buddleia, the butterfly bushes, to these hydrangeas. I know not a lot of people like seeing this year round, but I think it looks so lacy and delicate. So one of the new ideas for our shadier garden over here is to fill it with hydrangeas. This area can be a little bit tricky because in the middle of the season, the shade picks up. It's sunnier earlier in the year, then shadier, then it gets sunnier. So I thought this would be really wonderful to sort of fill this with hydrangeas. And I think that would be so nice to look out and see that in season, but then in the wintertime to leave the flower heads on and just see that as a backdrop. I think it's really nice. Plus they kind of match the color of our cottage. It's like a very similar pairing, this sort of richer color, and I really love how they look. We have another hydrangea here. We have a few sedum here that we're gonna have to move into our front borders. But let's see, I have a lot of ideas and plans for this area and plans for what we're gonna do back here, which will definitely take you there. So I'm thinking that this has never really done very well here. This is another dogwood. This isn't an ivory halo. This is just a red twig dogwood. And I'm not sure of the variety of this one, but it doesn't look very happy, and I think it just needs to be pruned and moved into a different spot. So we're going to replace this with a hydrangea. We're going to match this one on the side, and this is an Invincibelle lace cap, lacy Invincibelle, something like that. Anyway, so that's the hydrangea that's here, and we're gonna do one on the side as well, just to sort of match it. I think that would be really beautiful, and I love this hydrangea. It's got a kind of creamy pinky color. Disc, and then the flowers are this really soft white. It's gorgeous. And I want to replace, these are Forsythia or Forsythia that has been here for a long time. Their branches kind of cascade down, and then they create a new plant, and then those branches cascade down. So it's sort of this like game of leapfrog, Forsythia leapfrog. And so they've kind of spread all throughout. And the shape isn't great just because they're so old, and the pruning has been a little funky. So we're probably going to move these and hopefully give them a new lease of life. And there's some Forsythia on this side, and we'll replace those with hydrangeas. I'm thinking maybe some kind of oak leaf hydrangea for the we don't have much red fall interest here. A lot of beautiful kind of taupes and oranges and yellows, but not too much red. So I think that'll be a nice red accent there. And then I wanted to show you in our weird little kind of circular area that we've been calling the shade garden, and tell you about my plan for this garden for this year. So it's been so difficult for me to come up with a plan for this garden. I think I shared that in maybe the June garden tour. Yeah, I'd like to take you along when I figure out what I'm going to do in this garden. The shape is kind of funny, the lighting is kind of funny, my brain is kind of funny about this area. I can't figure it out just because it's such a weird shape. It's not a circle, but there's not much space for it. The lighting in here is very strange. Deep, deep shade over there, mixed shade here in these two beds. It's just kind of a funny place. So what we've decided to do, is turn this into, this is going to be our dining garden. So we're going to build a dining table out here and maybe put some lanterns in the trees, like battery operated lanterns in the trees, and then really deck it out with beautiful cottage garden plants. So it'll be a cottage shade garden with a dining area. I'm really excited. We don't have a dining area on the property, and yeah, we had thought about all different kinds of things. My partner absolutely loves Japanese gardens, and we both are into meditation and things like that. So we had thought about turning this into a Japanese garden. Then we decided, no, we'll turn it into a big pond because it's right on the hillside. We could have these boulders from the property and bring that down into this pond. And we realized there's way too many roots here for that anyway. So we've finally settled on turning this into a dining garden, and I think it's going to be fantastic. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. I'm just going to show you the porch bed, and then we'll go in for a cup of tea, a cup of cocoa maybe. So this is our porch bed. And we have replaced the lilac tree that was here. I'm not sure if I showed you that before, but this is a weeping white spruce. And we saw this at a friend's garden, and it was just so beautiful. They had a bunch of weeping white spruce on their hillside, and it looked stunningly beautiful in this climate. So I just love that. Yeah, that kind of glaucous foliage is really, really nice. And I think that'll be a nice year-round interest there. It was sad to see the lilac go, but it was, parts of it were completely dead. Most of the branches, there were about 2 or 3 branches that were alive, and those were beautiful, but we're definitely going to put tons of lilacs elsewhere for all the butterflies and things. Our boxwood, what's the word? Cone. Our boxwood cone is looking pretty good. It's nice to see it bulk up as the seasons move on. And we have a limelight hydrangea there, which has lost all of its blooms. I think there's a little deer that's coming in and just kind of nibbling away. And then we have our Nana's Globe, and that's a beautiful Japanese cedar, which I really love. And then we have our hyssop, which is lovely, and that's a nice one. Hopefully, I really want that to spread throughout because that is just a hummingbird magnet. I absolutely love it. I think that's pretty much it for our tour. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm not sure if it was interesting at all. There's not that much to look at, but hopefully it was maybe calming or inspiring just to start thinking about adding winter interest to the garden, which is something that I want to talk to you about a little bit more this year, because yeah, that's really helpful. It's a helpful thing to do. Walk around your garden when it's cold and, knowing that you can go inside and get toasty and warm afterwards, and then make some notes about what you could add and what areas, and try and find some inspiration even on these cold, dark, short winter days. All right, I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll see you again very soon. Okay, bye. Hi, sweet girl. Here you come.